All right, so now the fun part. This is where all this stuff sitting around me comes in. Yeah, I'm gonna go into engineer mode here for a second, so bear with me. This next song that I want to do is my first single, my debut single, Storm Warning, something that I wrote, another one that I wrote. But what we wanted to do, we had this crazy idea, you know, like you said, I had the pleasure of getting to play everything and sing everything on this record after, you know, writing it. And what we wanted to do was kind of show a little glimpse of how we did that, kind of a little miniature version. The problem is, the song we wanted to do it with was Storm Warning. We wanted to kind of record the song in this setting. But the thing is, Storm Warning took Dan Huff and I got to co-produce this record with Dan Huff, one of my heroes. It took us 3 weeks to do this song alone. And for some reason, I just kind of assumed that you guys wouldn't have 3 weeks. So I kind of figured out that the whole song is made up of, by the way, can everybody see this screen right here? Is it working? You guys can talk to me. I can't see you, so help me out. Yeah, the whole song is basically made up of 4 parts. It's got a verse pattern, a pre-chorus pattern, a chorus pattern, and a solo pattern. And so I just figured out if I brought the software along, brought a couple instruments, I could kind of record each one of those pieces and use the software to kind of copy and paste it around after we've recorded it. And the idea is basically to have a full-length track that I can grab my electric, stand up at this mic, and sing to a full band track of Storm Warning. So for the start of it, I did not bring drums for several reasons. All of which I'm sure you'll thank me for. To set up time, the loudness, I respect your hearing. I want to make sure you keep it when I walk out the door. So what I did was I copied a drum track in here. This is actually the track that I played on Storm Warning. This is straight from the record. It's a rough mix that I did, but you'll hear that going on. And yeah, we'll just kind of start building this process here. And we'll start with acoustic guitar. Thank you very much. All right, so here is a quick acoustic track. 2, 1, 2, 3. That's a quick acoustic track. You doing all right? All right. So, so just kind of to keep building the process here. Next thing is going to be bass. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Cowling. All right, so yeah, this is actually funny story. This is Dan Huff's bass. He right before we started making the record, I had a bass that really wasn't that great, so he said, "Well, here, take this one home." And I was like nervous because this is a bass that Jada Marcus played on a Flats record and then gave to Dan. It's sort of a thank you kind of thing. And he was like, "Just take it home and play with it. You know, just kind of get comfortable with it." And I was like, "Okay." And that was like 7 months ago, and he hadn't talked about it since. So, needless to say, it's his, and don't tell him I've got it. All right, so here we go. And let's start at the front of the song. How about that? Here we go. Oh, 1, 2, 3. All right. So a couple more things we want to add to this. Yeah. Steve Kyle, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a big hand. Come on. That's our bus driver. I think he got bored. Okay, so this next thing I want to do is obviously a piano track. What I wanted to do, though, was kind of save some time. So I'm going to use two sounds at once. You're going to hear on one side, you're going to sort of hear this old vintage electric suitcase piano kind of thing. And on the other side, you'll hear sort of a traditional piano sound. Combine those two at once, save a little bit of time, and here we go. 1, 2, 3. One last thing I want to add to this track here is just a quick mandolin track. The mandolin is actually this is my favorite country bluegrass instrument because it's just got a lot of sort of energy to it, and it gives the track a whole other sort of color, you know. And I'll be totally honest, it's about the only thing we had room for in the case after all that other stuff. So there's that too. All right, so quick mandolin track. Oh, that's not good. I don't know what just happened. Stand by. And there it is. Here we go. 2, 1, 2, 3. Never mind. We'll tune this first. If you guys, any of you guys know a mandolin player? Anybody in here know anybody that plays a mandolin? Because if you do, you know they spend half of their time tuning and the other half playing out of tune. Oh yeah, there it is. Steve, I feel like you did this to me on purpose. Did you take this out back and tune it again? Is that what happened? All right. Here we go. Now we're ready. Rock. 2, and 1, 2, 3. So, that's all the parts I'm going to throw on this thing. This is kind of the part where I go into geek mode for a second. But I'm going to just take these pieces. Can everybody, once again, screen's good? Still on? Still working? I can't tell. Okay, cool. All right, so as you can see, we've got all the parts kind of up here. This is the drum. This is just the shaker pattern. This green track on the top is just that kind of thing. And then we've got the acoustic track here in red, bass, Wurlitzer piano, Mando, all that stuff. So that's all there. And I'm just going to kind of select. Guys, seriously, if you haven't, I know a lot of you guys are production guys, but if you got any questions, please absolutely ask. I feel like I'm giving an Apple seminar over here. Steve Jobs is going to walk out any minute here. But actually, that'd be nice if he did. I'd love to get some free stuff from him. But what I'm just doing is I'm chopping all this stuff up. So I've got the verse pattern here, the chorus pattern there. No, that's the pre-chorus. Sorry, even I don't know it now. This is the chorus pattern and solo pattern and the little end thing. Now, to the left of that condensed version of the song, I've got the full-length version of the song, just kind of color-coded so that I can fly everything in. And once again, the same thing's happening. I got the drum track, and I've got the shaker pattern. So just going to start copying all these pieces over so that I can make a full song out of this and stand up and play and have some fun. But this whole process kind of came from when I started writing music. I don't know if you'd call it writing music because I was only 6. I think I was just making up my own stuff. But when I started kind of writing music, I was kind of a gearhead to begin with. So I was into the studio stuff. And so, I was learning an instrument at a time just because I loved music, and that's what I've always wanted to do. And what ended up happening was I started kind of, for my 7th grade Christmas present, I got an 8-track Tascam recorder, and it had a 40-gig hard drive. It was a bomb, and I didn't come out of my room for like 2 years after that. And I literally, I kind of, I've been in a studio before, but I didn't really know anything about getting in the studio for my own music. And so I just kind of put 2 and 2 together and said, well, the only way anybody's going to hear this stuff is if I actually start, recording. I'm not saying I sat down and said, I'm going to record all my own. It's like, this was kind of just a habit, I guess, instinct. I just started kind of sitting down with the songs that I had started writing and kind of just putting them together, recording them myself just because that was the only way anybody would ever hear it. And I've done it that way ever since, just out of habit. It's just the only way I know how to do it now. And we had this crazy idea to do the record like this. And of course, I was a little nervous, walking into the studio with Dan Huff. He's one of my heroes. And but we did it. We walked into the Castle. Really cool studio right outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and we stayed there for a couple months, and then we moved to some other places and just kind of recorded wherever we wanted to, but just took our time. Over a course of about 6 months, we ended up with like 14 tracks or something like that, and I've lost count. We worked on so many tracks, but we did the whole record kind of like this, not the copy and paste route, obviously, but we did the whole record kind of like this, and kind of like this, and and I learned a great deal from Dan, and now I have a full-length track that I can stand up and play the song. So, all right, thank you, sir. I love that you guys are so attentive, but the quietness is really getting to me. I'm not lying. All right, so. All right, so without any further ado, this is my debut single, and this is something called Storm Warning. Hope you guys like it. And 1, 2, 3. She rolled in from the west in a summer sun, just hotter than the heat in July, with a wind-blown hair just rolling her away. She was blowing my mind. Have you ever noticed every hurricane gets its name from a girl like this? She's a cat like kind, keeps you up at night, hanging on to the edge of a kiss. She's a beautiful miss. You're the kind you look for, but what happens next? I got a feeling when the sun comes out, Thanks so much, guys. Thanks so much for taking time out of your crazy busy days that I know are even crazier than even I know. If that made any sense whatsoever, but thanks for letting us make a mess of the place, and thanks for letting me play a couple tunes for you. Appreciate it.